Access to the cylinder head is pretty good on a featherbed once you've got the tank off. Obviously remove the carburetor and the exhaust pipes, and then the 10 cylinder head nuts and bolts can be removed. Cylinder head lifts vertically. You raise the push rods into the head before rotating the head backwards so that the push rods don't get damaged. Dismantling the head's pretty straightforward. You need to remove the stud between the two inlet valves in order to get the decompressor on, and it's also easier if you remove the lock nuts and tappet adjusters. Gives you a little bit more room to fool around. Torch and magnet help collecting the collets. It's nice to organise them properly in some kind of order so that you keep your various valve components together. Push rods left and right should be kept where they belong. Interesting head. Rockers are lightened correctly on the width, not on the underneath and the top. And interestingly, they're shimmed here with phosphor bronze bushes. This replaces the standard factory Thackeray washers, which are basically key rings, sprung-loaded key rings. That's very nice. Similarly, this side, shimmed as well. What we found is one broken spring on the right inlet. That would have given us intermittent compression and intermittent starting. So that's interesting. That is the source of the problem. These have nice lightened top collars, and they're running on single springs, possibly because of the reduced mass on the valve train. All in all, well looked after engine, good stuff. No major damage. Valve seats will clean up. It does look as though the exhausts are a bit mucky, they need to be lapped in. But no, they'll clean up nicely. Good stuff. So reassembly is the reverse of the disassembly. Push rods pushed into the head high up and rotated from the back, and the push rods are allowed to drop into the tunnels as soon as they line up. This engine's been rebuilt with conventional 2-spring valve springs and one heat washer underneath the base collars of the valve train. With the head loose, it's possible to turn the engine over and check that the push rods are engaged top and bottom and are indeed working the valves. If there was a jam, there wouldn't be any excess tension on the push rods and you'd be able to correct it before you did any damage. The first 4 cylinder head bolts go in, fore and aft of the left and right plug holes. So, cylinder heads fitted loosely. The first 4 bolts go in, again only finger tight, fore and after the spark plug hole on each side. So the cylinder head is now in the right position, so we can check that the valve gear is working correctly. So with the socket on the crank, check the 2 exhaust valves work appropriately. That one's gone down successfully. Now the thumb's going down successfully. Same again, check for inlet valves. Right hand side, left hand side. So after the 4 obvious bolts, fore and after the spark plug holes, 5 and 6 are these pillar bolts here that go up to studs in the head underneath the exhaust port. You can just see that one in there. One either side, so that's 5 and 6. Number 7 goes in under the inlet area, dead center. Really fiddly one. You might need to grind a spanner to do this up when you get around to tightening it. So that's number 7. 8, 9 and 10 can be seen from the top of the cylinder head at the front of the engine. So the last 3 attachments for the cylinder head are at the front and can be seen from above. These 2 are nuts which go onto studs coming vertically up from the barrel, and the one at the back is a bolt, drops down there. The rule of thumb seems to be that washers will go onto anything that snugs down onto aluminium. But if you're tightening onto cast iron, which is what the barrel's made of, there tends to be no washer. So these 2 at the front are tightening down onto the head. They're threaded onto a seeker. The seeker's placed on the top of the stud, and then it's released. And then finally everything's cinched down by hand to firm using a radial pattern. So this is central, you go in first, move out to the obvious ones on the spark plug holes, and pull the other ones down gently, finishing up finally with the top wrench.